the medications that he has to take come with psychological side effects, which they're just not coming out with. And mom's like, I told you so. I told you so. Like, this was not my kid. This is not my kid.
Welcome to Motherhood, Aligned and Assigned, where we help guide mothers from symptoms to solutions.
We're Dr. Serena and Dr. Veronica Schultz, nervous system specialists helping families discover the missing link in their wellness journey.
Join us as we translate complex health challenges into simple, actionable solutions for you and your children.
Because your family deserves to thrive,
not just survive. Okay, so we just got done talking about wellness care and how amazing and fantastic and wonderful wellness care is, especially when you have that maintaining the consistency of the most optimal version of your nervous system. But today I wanted to talk about kind of similar thought process of supportive care. And it's what happens when the care plan is kind of your kickstarting.
Yeah, the initial phase.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because this is year 2 for me. This is year 3 for you, right? In practice?
Yeah, I'm in my 3rd year.
Yeah, I'm starting my 2nd year.
We just had our 2nd birthday of me buying this practice.
Okay.
And then I had my home-based practice before that, but I was
this
just
is
playing.
Our first, 2nd, and 3rd year of of PX chiropractic, pediatric experience chiropractic, and we get into these really cool areas where people have some of the most life-changing, earth-shattering breakthroughs in a matter of 3 to 7 months, 3 to 9 months. And that's super great. But in this next phase of just care for especially me, I found this conversation shifting from breakthrough in 3 to 6 months to, okay, it could take a couple years. And that's kind of where supportive care comes in, because while you're going to get amazing improvements in a care plan, regardless, there's going to be improvement in many different areas, every now and then when you have something that's been brewing, have a storm that's been brewing for years, the complexity of the storm, the intensity of the storm, right? We get to this point where it's okay, we have gotten to a place where we have repaired and restored your neurological pathways. We just need more time. And we need to kind of do it a little bit more than wellness, but not so much where we're in a care plan still, and we call it supportive wellness. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk about this because lately I feel like I've been telling the families that are kind of navigating this, it was a little awkward at first because I was so on board for them to have these giant breakthroughs in 6 months. And they did, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to look like. And it wasn't, they were, thankfully, they've been wow, this is still great. But it was just so different compared to a lot of the other families who, when we got to wellness, it was a very, we both were yes, it's time for wellness, right? Mm-hmm. Versus this time around, it's ooh, what's happening? Mm-hmm. We kind of went through this whole spiral of am I doing it right? Am I on the right primaries? Am I doing all the things? And the answer was yes, after I consulted with all these people, our mentors, and re-looking at all the things and the science and everything. Sometimes you just need more time. And I'm just curious, the kind of conversations you have with your families who are also in supportive on how can we, because I don't want it to sound like we don't know what we're doing anymore or that we're losing confidence in your healing journey. It's just that this conversation, kind of what I said before, needs to go from a months-long conversation to a year-long conversation.
I have 2 people that come to mind. One of them, kiddo, but with a chronic illness, right? He's going to have it forever. But it came, the medications that he has to take come with psychological side effects, which they're just not coming out with. And mom's like, I told you so. I told you so. This was not my kid. This is not my kid. But while being on those medications, he's come out of that, right? So it was just we had anger, outbursts, shutdowns socially when he got overwhelmed. And it was very easy to get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So it's just behind in the classroom setting, all that kind of thing. We're through all of that. She saw, he's out here, 8 years old. He sees a kid have a meltdown. He's he needs to go see Dr. Kaufman. And his mom's well, why do you think that? He's well, I used to get angry, and I don't get angry anymore. And that's really cool. So in the care plan, we got out of all of that storm. My mom was so happy, speeding in catching up at school, in his writing and reading. Emotional regulation is amazing, but his scans just weren't quite there. And on a level of, I put all his scans, his first, middle, last scans in our PX like conversation group for clinical advice. And I had a gal, I was like, what do I, like, he is on the surface, like, met all his goals, but his scans are still in a really exhausted phase and really asymmetrical, which tells me, like, if I saw those scans fresh, I'd be like, 36 visit care plan. Like, what's happening? He's 8 years old, has seen so much progress, but his scans are not telling that same story. So I had to have a conversation with mom of like, oh, and I had feedback in the group of like, well, this chronic illness, it's been there. I mean, he had a really stressful start to life, plus chronic illness. So it's just going to take more time than we expected for his nervous system to come on optimally, right? Because I don't want to look at scans. I never want to look at scans like, well, your scans look great. And even if you feel like crap, that's fine. Your scans look great. And I don't want to do vice versa of like, well, we've met all your goals, but your scans still look like crap. Which, by the way, there's not good scans or bad scans. That's not how we view them. But that mindset is what I'm trying to say we're getting away from.
But I will say it's like, yeah, because people ask me, is that good or bad? A lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more about like your last scan. Like your initial scan, it's like a comparison to every other data, system and data that we have that Synapse has to offer. But then after that, you become your own baseline, right? So when we say like scans look like crap, it's because we know based on where you've been trending, whether there's like a plateau or like a regression, like we know where your scan specifically should look like, and we want to kind of continue to move you into the right direction toward that statistically what should look optimal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he just wasn't there. And so I just had an honest conversation with the family of like, based on the feedback I got from other clinicians who have been in practice 15 plus years,
right?
Their opinion is that this is just going to take time and consistency. And what would serve him really well is to come twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
And because like this deeper stuff is like when he gets sick, he gets sick. Right. And like that deeper level healing that mom really wants for him to set him up for success in his future. She's like, yeah, let's do it. Because supportive wellness isn't this care plan pricing. Like I know this kid, they have the routine down. It's so much easier to care for him right now than it was when he first started care. Because we have rapport. I know his nervous system. And so I feel like we can shift down in your investment because there's less, like he's also spending less time in the office. So there was that conversation. And then we're just going to see like consistency, and we're going to keep rescanning and see like, okay, his nervous system's come online and is awake. I feel like this is a really safe time to transition to once a week. And then I've had a patient who her scans looked pretty dang good. Like there was like, they were in like that normative data. If you came in as a new patient, I'd be like once a week. And she's like, nope, I don't feel that way and I'm not ready. And I want to keep coming in twice a week because I know that's what feels good. And that's when I feel good.
Right.
And so for her, I respect that. Like if you want to invest that time and money, I think we could like, but her scans, like I have to be so particular because it's like green on EMG and white, which for us is like mild tension and then normal tone. But she's so prone to migraines that just deteriorate her whole day or week that we have to be so specific. And like for her, optimal is that next level of consistency. But there was one more example that was kind of the opposite of all of that. We haven't had the conversation yet. We will before this comes out. But she is an adult, and I'm thinking, shoot, did I undercare plan? Right? This is what I was talking about in the last episode of like, I didn't take the age of her neurology into account for the weight that she's been under for the period of time that's kept the stress there. Is that possible? Because she's seen a lot of improvement and she's been so slow going. Or like we'll see an improvement and then we'll slide back. And then we'll see another glimpse and then we'll slide back. So it's like, okay, I know your nervous system is capable of healing, right? It showed us that you haven't felt that way in years, right? And we got a glimpse of it. And we can get back there. But it's like her nervous system is like, oh, I'm going to heal here. And then I'm going to heal here a little bit. And then I'm going to heal here. And so it's just like we've gotten pieces from everything. And now we're out of a big storm and we have momentum in her nervous system creating change. And now I think it's the consistency. And that's going to be that like 6 month, it's going to be a long game, but that value exchange of the consistency in removing stress from our nervous system over a long period of time is we're going to see that big change. And it's going to be a conversation of how fast do you want to see that change? Because we can do it twice a week and get there a little faster with that supportive wellness. Or we can take it easy, like build this into your weekly routine and play a little bit of a longer game, probably. Right. But that's honestly something I would probably leave up to her of like how fast she wants to get there.
That's where two of my families are. Well, I have this one case that he has been coming in. He's kind of at his 60 visits. We're actually extending for 12 more, so we're going to do 72 because he has been having issues since he came to me saying it had been since he was in his 20s, but we've kind of figured out, like he just told me today that he was having headaches so bad that like as a child, and he kind of forgot about them until his neck started having this tension. He's like, I haven't felt this since I was a child. So it's like, I was literally freaking out because I was like, this means we're on that pathway, right? Like your body has literally put you back into that pathway of like a time
neural retracing.
Remember. Exactly. Yes. And so we're getting to this point where he kind of switched from like my monthly guy to like where are talking about transitioning into supportive. You never know because sometimes that last 12 visits just like
it clicks.
Everything shifts together. But I did tell him as of right now, because his journey has been very much like, we're better. And then we're, this part is not doing great, but then this part is doing better. It's like digestion, sleep, all those things kind of take turns and go out the window and come back. And so it's like, we know that we can do it. We just need you to stick with it. And then there's also that like mental energy of like, is this working? Is it not working? Like he's kind of had push and pull because he's had such a crazy experience in the healing world of like, this was working and then it plateaued, right? He has to like, we're kind of getting out of that thought process of like, just because you're not seeing the crazy shifts doesn't mean we plateaued. We're just doing some work under the surface. So all of that to say, his transition looks a little bit less like, woohoo, we made it as of right now. Who knows? I have a strong feeling some crazy stuff is about to happen in the next 12 visits, but we're not at that mountaintop yet, but we are not also at the bottom at all by any means. He has reduced his medication by like a third for the first time in 10 years, right? Like he's still getting through the day without as many naps as he used to, right? Like we're looking at the soft signs and we're seeing him head in that direction, but he is an adult and it has been this slow going process. And so it's not so much that we're just going to like, going down to 2 because there's nothing better we can do, but that it's just simply because I feel like I'm getting to this point with, there's another family that's like this too. It's like, we're not making enough progress within 3 to make 3 make sense financially and time-wise. But we also need to give it much longer than just a couple of months on 2 times a week, right? So now it's like we're going into that supportive wellness, knowing a big shift is going to happen, just a little bit unsure as to when in terms of like the big shift. But we know we've seen enough progress in your care to know it's coming.
Yeah.
And so it can be.
It's tough when it's like here and there. And it's like a lot of progress and then a little regression here with a little progress over here. Because then I think their story is just going to like slowly and just like, it's going to be this like anticlimactic, like, blip. Yeah. Oh, I feel good. 6 months later. Right. Like all of a sudden you wake up one day, you're like, wait a minute. Yesterday, my heart rate came down after I played this sport and I didn't feel anxious and I wasn't exhausted at dinner time and my digestion was good and my low back didn't hurt. Like someday, all of those goals that you have, you're going to wake up and they're all going to be there. Right. But right now,
but it's like slow
you have half of them one day.
Almost unnoticeable.
Right. Yeah. So we have to like look back at their intake form and like, can I remind you that this is where we started with your goals and what you were struggling with. And it's just been such a slow process, slow and steady-ish, that you've forgotten where we started, basically.
That's a really good point. I haven't done that yet with him.
Highly recommend. Because I did it for myself. So it's like, shoot, what am I missing?
Right.
And I looked back at their intake form, actually. I was like, well, okay, we have come a long way.
It's like you're so in the weeds with patients that
Mhm.
you almost forget. Like
Yeah.
it's like you start to almost like walk alongside them in their
Mhm.
health journey, and you are, I don't know if this is the case for any other profession, but we as chiropractors are so invested in your health that it almost like is our health. Like it's like,
Yes.
how are we feeling? To like, I look forward to the updates and the changes and sometimes it can feel like, if it doesn't feel like it's happening fast enough, like, oh, what am I missing?
Mhm.
And it sometimes is just, one, remembering truly the impact we've already made, and two, understanding that this is like, you did have a whole lifetime of this. It is a little bit audacious to think I could get done in 6 months. I will never lose that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a little bit more time.
Yeah, that was the feedback I got for this kiddo, because I asked the forum, I was like, what am I missing? Why does the scan still look like this? And the doc was like, you're not missing anything, because like, look at all this incredible change in his scans.
Yes.
But time is what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Say, okay, thank you. I will go relay that to the patient now.
Right. And my soul.
Yeah. Truly.
So, hang in there. It really is. Chiropractic is just, I mean, this type of chiropractic, neurologically focused chiropractic care, is about optimization and function, and we are objectively tracking that right now. If you know, it'd be different if I got to a point where I was like, I don't know, scans aren't really changing and I'm just like at a loss, you know, then I'd have a little bit of questions. But like, it's like I'm seeing
but has
his
that
scans
ever happened?
change. There was one time that we did find a plateau and I was like, what is happening? But then I took it to the community and then they had the answer. So it was like, I didn't have the answer, but there was one, right? And we know where to find it. So like, yes, I mean, I'm not perfect, but that's the cool thing about this approach, is that it's also not just us doing this. It's a whole mentorship, a whole community. Sometimes I'll text you and be like, what do you think? Right? Like, there's just so much. So, like, yes and no. Like, yes, I was questioning if things were actually changing, but then when I took it to someone else's, and so their eyes saw it, it was like, oh, it's very much clearly this, and then they had, like, a huge breakthrough in there. You know what I mean? So it's like...
Dr. Veronica, by the way, just told me how the adjusting pattern I should be using for my daughter. Because I was like, this is what her scans look like. Help.
And sometimes it is a matter of, like, I think it's a combination of objective findings of the science, and then also doctors who aren't afraid to put their ego down and say, I don't know, can you help me? And I think that is just like the most game-changing combination for healing. And no matter what your goal is, I think if more, not to toot our own horns, but if more professions did that, we'd be in a much different state.
And it's not just like
in America.
That can be confusing, because it's not just like putting my ego down. Well, it is. It's like doubly. It's putting my ego down and aside and saying, trusting that there are other chiropractic physicians and excellent clinicians who might be able to look at these scans differently than me with just 15 more years of clinical experience under their belt. So they're like, oh, I've seen this pattern before and I've got stuck there before. But also, it's not just, it's putting my ego down and saying, I'm not the one doing the healing. And it's like letting and truly believing that you are designed to adapt and heal. God made you to design. Yeah.
That too.
That too. God designed you to be able to adapt and heal. And if there's not interference in your nervous system, your body can do it.
Right.
And it's not me.
Right.
So like,
but there's like this third pillar of like, but also I am skilled enough to know that if God brought you here, that I'm the chiropractor for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. But sometimes it's like, oh, do I need to refer them? And sometimes the referral is necessary, but it's not ego and like, oh, I need to refer them to a different doctor. Because some physicians think in other areas are like, I don't know, I'm going to refer you to this specialist instead. And then that person's like, I don't know, I'm going to refer you to here instead. Yeah. Well, usually I'm like, we're the last stop. So it's not like, oh, I don't know, there's no one else to hand you off to. It's like, actually, this is just going to be a process. And the faith I need to have is in that you are going to heal. And it just needs time.
Yeah.
Like, the healing is within you. Which sounds like, not like trying to be D.D. Palmer over here. But that power that made the body heals the body.
Yeah. And that's at play always. We're just partnering with it. Yeah.
Yeah. How about we just say amen to that?
Amen.
Amen.
Want to pray us out?
Sure. Dear Lord, thank you. And I'll just repeat it. Thank you for designing us in a way that we are so adaptable to this environment and that our bodies can heal. And thank you for the modalities that you've inspired people to develop and to master to remove interference from the incredible nervous system that you've given us. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for joining us on Motherhood, Aligned and Assigned.
We hope today's episode helped you connect the dots in your family's health journey.
Remember, this is where nervous system health meets motherhood wisdom.
Until next time, we're Dr. Veronica Schiltz.
And Dr. Serena Kaufman, supporting you as you nurture your family's well-being.
Because when you're aligned, everyone thrives.